Have you got players? Have you got rules? Have you got paper and dice and pencils and an evening free and everyone together? Now is the time to not roleplay yet, but have a long, complicated conversation about manners and consent and go through some questionnaires about, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you want to see puppies killed or get poked in the eye with a stick in lurid detail? Or is it? I do have several videos about starting your campaign quicker and funner, if that's a word, and I'll give you my suggestions for those sessions at the end of this video. But if you're new or coming back to role-playing, you might be hearing terms thrown around you're unfamiliar with. Session 0 sounds like it's setting a template for what the other sessions will be like. And we're going to talk about lines and veils and consent questionnaires and the X card. And all of this sounds like baggage that's not going to be fun. But here's the thing. You want to have an evening having fun with your friends. You don't want to traumatize your friends. You want them to come back for sessions 3 and 4 and 5. So why not play the game they'll want to come back to? Now, a role-playing game is not somewhere to act out your sexual fantasies, that's the bedroom, or to get therapy, that's the therapy room. And people who are trying to use it for those things are not using it properly, unless you are having a therapy session with a registered therapist who is also a game master, and you're doing some sort of weird therapy role-playing thing. This isn't the place for that. There are thousands of perfectly good television shows, movies, where there's a science fantasy setting, but when it gets to sexual activity or torture, it's done off-screen, if at all. In Supernatural, we fade out and fade back in the morning to find out what Dean's been up to, and it can be the same for the bard in your game. And no one needs to be told, well, I've rolled a d20 and your character is pregnant. GMs have comfort levels too. I don't want to run a game where that's happening. I don't want to play with players who are excited and looking forward to that kind of stuff. So set out your cart. Say to your players, we are not recreating the grittiest parts of the real world. This is a fantasy game in a fantasy setting. There's dragons. We don't need to have dragons and kill children. In Skyrim, you can't. Let's play the games which include the things we want to have fun with. We don't have to spend an entire session explaining that point to people. This doesn't need to be a session. Session 0, it's a sort of pre-flight checklist. We're going to be including these things, if that's okay. If not, tell me now before the story starts. We're not going to be including these things. If you desperately want the game to include those, find another game. We're going to have a talk about the rules we're going to use, about the tone of the game, about the humour. Is everything going to be silly puns, or will someone occasionally make a quip? Levelling. Will your characters improve through succeeding? Will they improve through failing? Will they improve through progressing through the story? We have a group concept. If we do, then what characters and classes or races in a fantasy setting fit into that group concept? What are we going to do during the session about phones? Do we turn them all off and put them in a pile in the middle of the table? First person to pick up their phone has to buy the pizza. Alcohol. Are we going to drink during the game? I personally don't have alcohol during my games. I used to have a no alcohol until the first break, and from there my players just realise that actually role-playing sober, they get a lot more done. Off-table play, if it's not during the session, can you be messaging the DM and asking to do other things? This can be great if you've got a one adventure per night system. I talk about those in one of my other videos, so that people can do their own things in downtime. What happens if they miss a session? If their character has a goal they want to meet, and how that can leave the campaign and come back in as somebody new. This video is part of a series I've got on YouTube about campaign design, getting you ready to run a role-playing game, getting you ready to game master like magic. There's a playlist on my channel page, and you can hit the subscribe button to get the new videos as they come out. But all of these are things to do before the session, but session 0 can just be emails. It can be WhatsApp or Discord messages. It doesn't have to be simultaneous. You can do it with different people at different times, get everyone on board, and then start. If people want to say to you, oh, by the way, can we not have spiders? It might actually be easier to do that separately from the whole group. A lot of the time when I start a game with players I've played with before, I can cut this down because they know I have a standing set of content limitations. There will be no graphic sex, there will be no torture, there will be nothing bad happening to children or beloved pets. And if they want to have a conflict with another character, then they can agree that with the other player. If they want to have a fight with another character, if it's a bit of rough and tumble, horsing around, sparring, absolutely fine. But if they decide that what they want to do is try and kill another character, and we as a table agree that, yeah, narratively that is what your character would do, they can have a go at that. Or rather, the character can have a go at that. But first, I will take the character sheet, because I play the villains and threats to the party. Other players don't. Your character can continue as an NPC at that point. So, what do we need to do? What do we need to use? What are these new things, and how do we use them in our games? Well, lines and veils are something that's always been around. We say, well, we don't want to have that in it. We're not going to have pregnancy or murder or miscarriages or abuse. We are drawing a line. Those don't occur in the majority of science fantasy TV shows. You wouldn't have a long, graphic, drawn-out scene of sexual content. They would cut if it's something particularly sexual or graphic, or they would show a different part of the room and you just hear the sounds, and this is called drawing a veil. We fade to back and come back up the next morning and everyone's tucked up in bed. That's fine. Do this beforehand. Do check what things are phobias. Don't have to have graphic descriptions of injuries to make people squirm. Don't you want to have a fun evening where they have fun and come back for another one? And all of this, I think, can help. It can make for a better role-playing experience, because when people know what you're not going to do, they can relax. They can take risks. They can think to themselves, well, if my character is captured, I'm not going to have to sit through a graphic torture scene. I'm not going to have to be told that my character is pregnant and they're going to magically have the baby in 4 days because of some weird fetish the GM has. A lot of this can be fixed by not playing with teenagers, but if you don't have that as an option, just say, this is my stall, this is the game we're playing. If something comes up later, say, can we stop and rewind that, retcon it, change it? This is all an X card is, asking, what if we don't? None of this is new. It's all just kindness. Have fun with your players, within your limits and their limits. There is so much you can do in role-playing without having to tell people graphic descriptions of violence or sex. If they're all into that and you're all into that, you've already stopped watching this video, and that's fine. Have a fun night having fun. That's not revolutionary.